Well, the St. Louis Cardinals have reached about the midway point of their season at this point. It's been an up and down season. You had a really cold start to begin the year, really hot as of late. What do we give the Cardinals as midseason grades so far? We'll discuss all that and more in this episode of D on the Cards. All right, guys. Not a great day today. So doubleheader for the Cardinals. Obviously, it just dropped game one to the Braves here, and then we have not Palante, Liberatore versus Elder in game two later tonight. But again, the Cardinals are above 500 now, 2 games above 500 after that loss today. Right in the thick of the wild card race. Honestly, they're pretty close to the Braves in the standings now, which if you told us that at the beginning of May when we were calling this team dead in the water, I don't think any of us would have believed it. It's a crazy season so far. But before we get into these mid-season grades, Andrew, how did you feel about the game today? I'll just give a quick take. In general, I think there's no excuses with doubleheader games. So I'm not going to try and act like they were robbed of a game. I just don't take a lot from them because they're such weird outings. And they're in this launch stretch right now. So they're doing the bullpen games tonight. It'll be disappointing if they lose the series. I'm not going to be happy about it. And I will call it like a disappointing series, but I don't like freak out about losing in a doubleheader game because neither team, I don't know. It's just, you got to play the games. You got to figure it out. They lost. It's frustrating, but here we are. It doesn't change my opinion to the team. Andrew, how'd you feel after today's first game?
Yeah, Gibson was shaky, kind of a little bit expected after the weird schedule that he's been on. But the offense missed a lot of chances, again, to score with bases loaded, runners in scoring position. Lopez has been tough, but his metrics, peripherals are like some of the other NL ERA leaders this season that haven't been as good and due for some regression. But the Cardinals weren't able to get there. But yeah, it was a tough game. Yeah.
Sandy, how'd you feel?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I'd like to see the Cardinals win these games, and when they don't, obviously I'm going to be upset. I thought the Cardinals probably deserved to at least have it look closer than it did today. That 4-run inning from the Braves was kind of a weird one. You could tell Gibson wasn't right. He couldn't locate anything. And the really annoying part was he kept getting ahead of those Braves hitters and then losing them. I think there were at least 2 instances where he went ahead 0-2 and then walked somebody on 4 consecutive pitches after that, or even where, they battled a little bit, threw some stuff in the zone, but ultimately ended up losing him. It just felt like he wasn't attacking today. I felt like he was really nibbling, staying on the edges too much. And that's not the Gibson that we've appreciated so much this year. The Kyle Gibson that we've liked is a guy that goes right after hitters. He's willing to say, hey, I'm better than the guy at the plate, and so I'm going to challenge him in the zone. And he just didn't seem to have that edge today. Forgettable start for him. But the good thing with a guy like Kyle Gibson is even when it's a forgettable start, it's not like he was out of there in 2 innings. He still at least did his best. But in the first half of a doubleheader, you hate to see that still.
For sure. And I mean, Sandy, you were really big on this earlier in the season, but runners in scoring position is a legitimate issue for the Cardinals now. It's hard for me to totally buy into that when they were just so bad overall, because it was like, you look at the overall numbers and they're bad across the board, but they're historically bad with runners in scoring position this year. So it's something to watch, but I guess, especially with how the team has been performing as of late, I would think there's positive regression due there, where I don't think they're going to finish among the bottom 12 teams of all time with runners in scoring position. But if they do, that's going to be a big storyline going forward this season. It bit them in the butt today. It should have been a closer game, but they couldn't come through. Bases loaded, no outs. They got 1 run out of it. Not great, but we digress. We go forward from here. So today we're going to do the Cardinals midseason grade. So we've done this twice already this season. We did April and May. Now it's toward the end of June, and we're about the midseason mark. And so we'll go through different players on the list and kind of give our thoughts on their season so far. Again, this is mostly relative to performance. A little bit of it's baked in with expectations of a player, but we're not necessarily going to grade like Chris Roycroft, an S-tier player, because he's been way better than we ever thought he would be. We're going to keep it realistic in terms of what he's produced for the team. So yeah, you'll see the list as we come through here. And then we'll also grade the front office, the team, all the stuff that's gone on so far. So one thing to note as well, though, Andrew, I don't know if you want to throw it up on there, but is we're going to keep anyone who hasn't played or done anything in the same tier. So you'll see them on there as well. And we can talk about that as we go through, because it's kind of one of the big storylines right now is there's a lot of guys that are supposed to be returning from injury that just haven't to this point. So you've got where are we at here? Steven Matz is in D tier. I don't think Lars Nootbaar's played since last time we did this, or did he?
I don't know. Actually, he probably hasn't. I don't remember where we put him. I can go back and fix that.
It's okay. We can throw that in there at some point. But like you've got the Tommy Edman news today where it's like, okay, now he sprained his ankle while he's returning from his wrist thing. You've got Steven Matz with his major setback. You got Riley O'Brien, who's like kind of had setbacks because he's not really done his rehab yet, even though he's supposed to. And then you've got Zach Thompson, who's stuck in AAA with the velocity issues. You got Jordan Walker, who honestly might not have a spot on this team for the rest of the year at this point, which is kind of wild. Again, Newt Barr is working his way back. He seems to be progressing well. And you've got Victor Scott, who we probably won't see this year either at this point. So that's kind of where we're at with those. Maybe real quick, let's touch on the Edman piece of things. Again, sprained ankle, we don't know how big of a deal that's going to be. It could just delay him by a week or so. But are you guys concerned? I mean, I know we've been concerned about Edman, but are you like, what's your like 0 to 10 freak out meter with Tommy Edman, Sandy?
I don't know. It's probably like a 7 right now because we just haven't seen him yet this year. And I don't know. The timetable is so stupid. It feels like part of me, Andrew said this earlier, and I thought it was really funny, but there's this like conspiracy. Tommy Edman's dead, or Tommy Edman is so injured that he's not going to play all year. And so we're just going to make stuff up. And that's how it feels. Like I felt like I was getting information in March and it was like, Tommy Edman is progressing. He's doing baseball activities. What does baseball activities even mean? Okay. The Cardinals treat injuries, and Tommy Edman might be the worst example in the last 3 or 4 years. They're so cryptic. We have no idea what's going on. And so I want to believe that Tommy Edman is moving towards a rehab appearance. Like I want that to be true. I want him to be headed towards a rehab assignment, but the Cardinals have given me no reason to trust them. At the same time, I don't want to just pretend the Cardinals are lying to us all. I don't think that's a good way to treat it either. But yeah. I don't know. My freak out meter is higher than it should be for a guy that, by all indications coming from the club, is really close to playing baseball again.
Yeah, I think something we do need to remember with these is like early in the offseason, we were upset that they didn't communicate Tommy Edman's injury, but that was less about the fact that he was going to be out for a while and more about the fact that they just never communicated he had surgery in the first place. I think it's harder when you're starting to connect and start to articulate timelines because it isn't an exact science. And like Contreras was on an 8 to 12 week time frame and he came back in 6 weeks because he's awesome and he just figured out a way. Sometimes there's setbacks, you know, like Steven Matz went out there and they were like, okay, it looks like he's healthy. We're going to start pitching him. And then he hurts himself. Like he just feels something again. They can't predict that kind of stuff. And same with Tommy coming back. So that's why I would hesitate. I personally would hesitate to say they've been lying to us or they've been not communicating well with us. Cause I genuinely think they've been trying to, it's just, it keeps not working. And I don't know if any of us would accept or like the idea of them saying he's out indefinitely, because that creates even more questions where it's like, okay, what does that mean? I think they've just been like, okay, he's supposed to hit this bench marker and then it doesn't happen. And then they're like, I bet they're as equally frustrated as we are at this point. But yeah, I mean, my freak out level is probably like a 7-2 right now because I don't know when he's supposed to be back. And then also when he comes back, I'm starting to be like, well, maybe Siani plays against right-handed hitters because it's not like Edman's that great against right-handed pitchers anyways. And then you get the platoon advantage with Tommy Edman against lefties. I don't know what you do. So Andrew, Tommy Edman, how you feeling about that? And then we should get into these player grades.
Yeah, it's pretty frustrating. It seems like they've just handled it really poorly or they just don't know what's going on. And it's like, I hate to draw comparisons to my favorite Angels third baseman, but it's just like they're making up a new injury like every single week where he's like progressing and it's like Anthony Rendon stubbed his toe on the dugout stairs and he's out for the next 6 weeks. It's like, okay, it feels like that. And I'm not trying to say that like they're comparable in terms of their attitude towards it. I don't think Tommy Edman's addressed the media at all regarding his injury. I don't know if we should expect him to, but yeah, I'd like to see him back soon. Just give us some more offensive firepower in the lineup at center field. But yeah.
Yeah, we'll see that soon. Well, okay, firepower, though. Let's get into the player grades. Firepower out of the bullpen is Ryan Helsley. Again, I think he's still the league leader in saves, and he's just set the Cardinals' consecutive saves record in an individual season, or I guess across any multiple seasons if you need that too. But obviously, it hasn't looked great as of late, and I can't remember what the time frame was, but like in the last 6 or 8 outings or something like that, he's like a 5 ERA and like a almost 2 WHIP, and it's not been, and his K rate super down. So like it's not looked good recently, that's for sure, but he's still closing the games. So personally, I would keep him in S tier just because like his job is to close down the game. I wouldn't say he's the best closer in baseball right now because clearly, Class A gives me a little bit more like I feel a little bit better about him going out there because he just does not allow runs, and there's a difference when you have a 3-run lead. But Ryan Helsley rarely has a 3-run lead either, so it's not like he's always coming in with these big leads. But I keep him in an S tier because he's not blowing saves, and that's his job. And so I don't know how you pin him for that. But if someone wants to drop him to A tier, I get it.
No, I agree with you. I think S tier is the spot for Ryan Helsley. And here's one thing to push back on the numbers narrative. Imagine Ryan Helsley, let's say he makes 9 appearances, right? And he gives up 2 runs in 1 appearance and 3 runs in another, but the other 7 are scoreless. That's a 5 ERA over those 9 appearances.
Yeah.
But that's really good. Like that's what the average closer, I mean, the average closer is probably a little bit better than that, but you're really happy if your closer gives you that because of the way the runs are like sequenced, and that's kind of been what Ryan Helsley's been. He'll go 7 or 8 appearances in a row without giving up a run. And then it's like, okay, there's one minor blow up, except he's not even like blowing the save. Ryan Helsley has blown 1 save this entire year. The last guy to run up 26 consecutive saves, which Helsley has now surpassed, was Edwin Diaz. And he did that over a 3-year stretch. Ryan Helsley's done it all in 1 season. He's literally blown 1 save. He's blowing less than 4% of his saves this year. A 96% save rate from a closer is unbelievable. That's the best mark in the league. Ryan Helsley is saving more games than anyone else. He's locking it down. And to be honest, he's probably it's hard to call a reliever the MVP of a team, but there's a real argument that Ryan Helsley is the MVP of this team. So for me, he's the very top of S tier. He's elite. If he's not the most right now, the most dominant closer in the league, I still think there's an argument to call him the best closer in the league because nobody has locked down more games. And that's what your closers are supposed to do. So S tier, I won't hear any A tier talk for Ryan.
A tier.
I feel like Andrew's about to do it. Yeah, I knew it.
That's crazy.
Okay, saves for me are like pitching wins. Like it's a lot of it's team based, right? A lot of it's dependent on how many runs you're up by. You can get a 3-inning save. Like he hasn't gotten any of those, but you can throw 3 innings.
That's like an anachronism. Those never happen anymore. Those happen like once.
He had a 3-inning save against us on opening day against the Dodgers. I remember that.
Yeah.
I was sad. But like he just hasn't been as effective. I haven't seen what I need to see out of him to be confident in him when he comes out. Like he gets the job done, but like when you're up 3 runs, what do you think is the save rate for like just any closer when you're up by 3 runs? It's probably pretty high, right? So you don't expect him
to play baseball.
Well, hold up real quick. Last 10 outings. So he's had 10 outings in June. He has 8 scoreless appearances and then 2 appearances where he's given up 2 runs.
But that's just he's giving up a lot of hits. He's not as locked down as you expect him to be, and it's like,
but he's getting the saves.
Right. You can make that argument, but like there's an element of luck to it as well, right? Alex Reyes did this, and he wasn't necessarily the most lockdown closer.
Oh, during Alex Reyes' stretch, though, there was an argument that he was the best relief pitcher, not just closer, but relief pitcher in baseball.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was a mess every time. It felt like when Reyes came always. Yeah, but like also that's a reliever. Like name one reliever that never gets into trouble. It's like it just when you watch the same guy over and over again, it feels that way because it's like we're watching a guy whose job is to pitch 1 inning. So if he gives up 1 hit, then we're like, oh, it's dicey. And it's like if a starter goes 6 innings, he gives up a hit, no one thinks anything about it.
I mean, like if he didn't have if he blew a couple more saves, he wouldn't even be in the All-Star consideration because he's at 2.83 ERA. So like if the Cardinals are up by 1 run against the Braves instead of 3, then that happens in a couple other games, then it might not be as black and white, right? Like he has a 2.83 ERA through 35 appearances, 1.23 whip. That's not lockdown stuff. And like he's gotten the job done, but like he's needed, I don't know, I'd say a little bit.
Okay, but he also has a 147 batting average allowed this month.
Okay.
That's very good.
So home runs, he's given up 0 this month.
How many has he given up this year? Like
I don't know. He gave up 1 home run and it was in June.
Yeah.
Or May. Sorry, May.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
you guys
I
have already outvoted me. I just want to be heard and
Yeah.
be like A tier.
I
we
get it.
hear you. We hear
get
you,
it out.
Andrew. We just disagree with you.
I get it, but I just think like if you're the dude that is locking down more games, a higher percentage of games, your team can trust you every single night. That's how it feels with Ryan Helsley.
Yeah.
Like I've been able to turn the game off in the 9th inning late at night because I know Ryan Helsley is the man. And
Also, he's only given up a hit in 4 of those 10 appearances. He gave up 1 hit in 3 of them and 2 hits in 1 of them. He's walked a batter in. Okay, so there's other outings though. He walked 2 in an outing. 2. Okay, yeah, the walks are a legitimate problem right now. He's 9 walks in 10 innings this month. So like, sure, I'm not going to disagree that it's not looked great or it's not looked as good lately. But I just think overall, again, this is overall the season. Overall, I think he's been S tier.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I advocated to move to A tier last time too, but I mean,
I think you did.
And even a little bit worse, but
that's fine. I could see it could. Like a couple bad outings, I think could easily throw him into A tier, but he's still.
I mean, here's the thing, right? People are going to call me negative because it's the first one we did, and some people are going to turn it off. But like, there's other guys on this list. I promise you that I'm going to want higher than you guys do.
Okay.
Specifically at the end.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. So Miles Michaelis, I'm gonna give him B tier. I feel like I don't know if A tier would be the one I want to go with here. But here's the thing though. I feel like his overall numbers don't look super good because at the beginning of the year he was just awful.
Unplayable.
But yeah, so I mean maybe you could put top of C tier. I'd probably say like bottom of B tier because he's giving you the innings you want from him. And he's been arguably your second best pitcher since he turned it on in the middle of May. Probably Gibson's still above him, but I'd give bottom of B tier, high C tier.
I say high C tier because we're doing overall season. And if you're going to give Helsley his flowers for being great early in the season, we need to recognize that Michaelis was terrible like later on or earlier on. I don't know.
Let's just think about this. I am really stuck between B and C, but I want to say that the Cardinals this year said innings were important. And I was doing Jeff Jones's Sporkle that he put out during the rain delay today. And it was crazy to me because he ordered, so for those of you who don't know, Jeff Jones put out a Sporkle today. And it was name every pitcher that's given the Cardinal, like gave the Cardinals an out last year or whatever. And he ordered them by innings pitched. And it was literally Miles Michaelis with 200 innings pitched. And then Montgomery with like 120, and then everybody else below them. And for the most part, the Cardinals had almost nobody else go even over 100, which is just crazy when you think about it, how they started that.
Well, because they traded half of their starters at the deadline. So
that's part of it.
True. But like the fact that Montgomery, a guy who was not on the team for the last 65 games of the season, finished second in innings pitched on the team. They only traded 2 starters. They didn't trade the other guys. Like that just shows you how badly the Cardinals needed innings. And Miles Michaelis this year is on pace to again throw close to 200 innings if he doesn't eclipse that mark. And he's been pitching deep into games. He's been giving the team what they need. The only bad start he's had in his last like 8 outings was a ridiculous start. There was terrible luck. He generated all of the soft contact he needed. And honestly, I don't blame him for it. I thought he deserved better. The defense let him down. So I think it's okay to put him at the bottom of B tier, especially if Josh is on the Michaelis to B tier train. That's crazy.
Maybe I'll throw because I'm looking. So I mean, obviously, all of his starts this year, it's a 4.68. You do his last 15. Well, I guess actually it's basically his whole season if you do last 15 too. His last 7 though, it's a 2.98 ERA, a 0.8 FIP or WHIP. That's kind of wild.
Very good.
I'd maybe say top of C tier where he's just
very
like, almost there. Okay. He was just so bad at the beginning. It's hard to overlook that because I mean, part of the reason they were losing these games is Miles Michaelis goes out there and gets shelled every time. So it's like, anyways, Brandon Crawford, Andrew,
C tier.
Oh. Okay, hey, I just feel like we need to acknowledge the very first time we did a tier list. Not Brandon. Wow, almost Andrew. You're Brandon now. Apparently, Andrew wanted a Brandon Crawford tier at the very bottom. Now, I'm not going to disagree. I kind of wanted one too, but
he's never been in his own tier. Actually, like last time he was with Gallegos and Carlson, and I think the first time we did it, let me pull it up. He was with King and Palante, which is crazy.
Yeah, that didn't age well. Yeah, I think I'd put him at bottom of C tier. It's like his role is supposed to be the backup shortstop to never play. And again, it was not great at the beginning, but he's actually been really good as of late, but the defense still isn't that good. So I could see bottom of C, top of D. Again, this is expectations and performance, and he's not. I mean, he's 50 at bats this year, so it's like whatever.
Let me just real quick say, I think if we're going body of work, top of D is a good spot for
Fair.
Brandon Crawford. Here's why. I am all about Brandon Crawford resurgence. I think it's been very fun to watch. I've actually been kind of excited to see his spot come up in the lineup a few times. He's come up big for the Cardinals.
Here comes the butt.
Series was good. It was great to see him and Dylan Carlson combine for an insurance run the other night against the Giants. I'm all for that. But at the same time, he's still batting 184. He's worth 0.0 WAR. He's still a below average defender with a 72 WRC plus. Like, we do have to think about that. I think he's doing a good job in his role, and I will listen to C talk if you want to factor in whatever impact he's having on Masyn Winn.
Actually, that's true.
I'll listen to that because we just heard that Alec Burleson is getting hitting lessons from Matt Carpenter apparently, and I don't care what they're doing. I want them to keep doing it. So I'll listen to that. So that's, for me, that's the only argument for C. Top of D is fine because he's been playable lately, and I don't hate seeing him in the lineup every day. In fact, occasionally,
my argument is that since the last time we did this, tier list, Brandon Crawford has a higher OPS than Shohei Ohtani.
That's wild.
Does he really?
Yeah, because he's played in like 3 games.
So also, I mean, you look at his first 11 at bats. I think he went for like 0 for 11 or he went 1 for 11 so I think that kind of weighted down because he's one. If you look at his season's 180, but then it jumps to in his last 15 games, which is 39 of his 50 at bats. It's it's like a mid 600s OPS, and then it's over 800 OPS in his last 7 games. And I do think that the influence he's had on Masyn Winn, I think you got to put that into this too.
I will listen to the very bottom of C tier. I think the jump from launch into the Sun tier to C tier is very generous, but I'm here for it.
Hey, it's one of the best comeback stories we've ever had in Cardinal history. Better than coming back in Game 6 of the 2011 World Series.
David Freese, hold my beer.
Remind me, I have a point to make with Matt Carpenter now in a little bit. I think you guys will enjoy it, especially you, Sandy. Wilson Contreras. I mean, do we throw him in? I think you can't blame
2 games since we did.
And he was an S tier before, right? Yeah, so I think you got to keep.
I don't really think it matters. Yeah,
I was making sure. I thought last time we agreed that we weren't going to hold the injury against him, but and I put him above Ryan Helsley personally. So Ryan
JD Martinez an F tier for that.
True, we need to get him back on here. So Wilson Contreras, best player on the team. I think we just keep it at that for now. I mean, maybe Alec Burleson or Masyn Winn or Brendan Donovan can overtake him or Ryan Helsley, but Contreras is the star right now, so you gotta love that. But then his counterpart, Ivan Herrera, it's been interesting. I think people have really over exaggerated his defensive woes. Like, obviously the arm is a big issue, but he has really improved framing and blocking wise. And I think he's on pace for like a 3 WAR season if he was playing the full time. So like he's not like, I don't know. I think people are
it's not like we're working with Miguel Amaya back there.
Yeah. No. So I think I'd put him in like high C tier. Maybe low B tier, but I think it's been a little bit cooler as of late. He does have some of the worst luck on the team right now. Is just doing something about that because the Cardinals have are one of the teams the biggest difference between their WOBA and expected WOBA, and Herrera is like a huge difference. I think the only one who is more is Nootbaar. And Nootbaar would be an elite hitter this year if his expected WOBA was on point. So I'd put Ivan at like somewhere in C tier because I do think the arm has hurt them in a lot of games. His bat hasn't been as good as the expected numbers say it should be. But I could hear an argument for higher, maybe even lower.
I think that's fine.
Yeah, I think
we had him in B tier last time, but I feel like he slid a little bit down. He's also hurt, but I guess we're not holding that against people.
I don't like the way the Cardinals are dealing with Herrera, though. Can I say that? I don't feel great about it.
However you want.
It frustrates me to see the Cardinals just like throw him aside. I know that Pajes is kind of fun to watch behind the dish, and he's had a couple big moments. But Herrera is the prospect we believe in more long-term. And it feels so much like it does, or like it did with Wilson Contreras last year, where something's going wrong. And then the Cardinals are just like, okay, we need someone to play him. And maybe it's probably not intentionally that way, especially from the organization. I don't think they mean for it to come across that way, but it was really weird to all of a sudden, while he was still healthy, see him just get shelved randomly and just like, go missing in action. I didn't get that.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that. Andrew, any other thoughts you'd add to that?
No, it was a little bit odd, but at least they didn't like publicly announce that like he was going to be an outfielder or something.
Oh
I
man,
don't know.
yeah, I don't know. But sometimes, I mean, Ollie's talked about this too. I mean, he has to protect the players, and there's stuff that's going on. Like he's like offhandedly kind of said this before. He's like, "What do you want me to do if a player comes in and says I don't want to pitch today? I don't have it in me. Do I call them out publicly and say, hey, yeah, Ryan Helsley told me he doesn't want to pitch today, so that's why he's not pitching, or do I say he's unavailable?" Like, so I think that's part of the role as the managers kind of wear those bullets sometimes. So if Yvonne had a back thing, there's probably a reason why they didn't want to say it, but it is frustrating as a fan though. So who we got next? Alec Burrow. Oh, is that Burleson?
Donovan.
Okay, so Donovan. You guys go first.
A tier.
I'm A tier too. Yes.
He has a 113 OPS plus.
117 WRC plus, playing great defense everywhere. And then get this. So in games they win. So if the Cardinals win the game, he's first in average, first in on-base percentage, first in OPS, first in runs scored, second RBIs, third in slug on the team. When they lose, he's like 10th or 12th in all those rankings. Before May 12th, he was like the 5th or 6th best hitter in all those categories on the team. Since May 12th, he's first in average, first in OBP, fourth in slug, second in OPS, second in RBIs, fifth in run score for the team. Freaking Brendan Donovan's back.
Yeah, he's been great. A tier is absolutely the spot for him. He's having the season that I wanted to see Jordan Walker having.
Ooh.
Oh, no.
Oh my gosh, someone said Joe Biden can steal on Herrera. You're probably right. Oh gosh.
Wild take. Look, they're gonna work on Herrera's arm, okay? Like that's gonna be his assignment this offseason. Jordan Walker came back and he was a much better defender. The Cardinals are good at doing stuff like that over the offseason. He's going to be working with guys either with Yachty or with guys who've spent a lot of time with Yachty, and they're going to fix his arm. It's going to be
Wilson had a just this time last year is transformed as a defender. So I could see it.
And he's in his 30s.
Yeah. And again, it's like, okay, if this whole year goes by and Herrera, I don't know how we got back to Herrera talking about Donovan, but if for some reason Herrera's arm doesn't develop, then we can have a conversation about do the Cardinals need to do something.
Exactly.
This is why you give up. If people get mad at the Cardinals for giving up on players too early, but it's like Ivan Herrera has a couple bad weeks and not throwing out base runners. Everyone wants to trade him for something, and it's like if he goes off and he's an elite catcher, then people are like, "Oh, the Cardinals gave up on him." So whatever. Lance Lynn, Andrew, I know you have a feeling about Lance Lynn. You can go first.
I mean, he's just not doing his job. He's not eating the innings that he needs to be. There's just stuff that's going on that like. I just don't think he's been that great this season, and I think D tier fits. He's had a couple bad outings. That one outing against the Marlins was awful, and like some of the metrics just show that like he's been worse than what his actual numbers show. So I don't really see that being sustainable down the line. I think D tier kind of fits for Lance Lynn. I don't know. You guys probably put him in C tier or something.
I would say C tier.
Okay.
I think D tier is pretty hard.
I think that's fair.
I'm trying to figure out where he ranks in innings this year. He's 60th in innings. Like he's not that far. He's only 2 innings below Jack Flaherty and Sonny Gray.
Granted, Gray missed
Jack Flaherty who would like.
Yeah, Sonny Gray did miss starts.
Like, do you remember what Jack Flaherty? Like, he would not pitch a lot of innings when he was with us.
Yeah. Okay, well, Jack's made 2 less starts than him. Okay,
so but let's start with the fact that
Jared Jones may have a few more. They made the same amount of starts. Like he's had a lot. He has more innings than Aaron Cavalli, Jordan Hicks, like Shota Yuma. Oh, Shota's had 2 less starts.
But 4 of Lynn's starts have been cut short by rain.
Yeah. I do think, Andrew, you're right that like expected numbers wise, he should be D tier. It's been working though, and we could easily come back to this next one as a D tier player. But I think he's got 3.89 ERA or something like that. I feel like that's C tier.
How does he have a negative WAR with those numbers? How bad is his defense? Is the real question.
Oh gosh.
Oh, let's put him. Maybe ahead of Robertson.
Yeah, I think that's good right there.
Yeah,
maybe it's worth talking about the defense because it does look really bad when Lynn's on the mound.
Well, it's because if you bunt the ball to him, you're going to get on base. Like I could bunt the ball to Lance Lynn, and I would probably get a single because.
So basically, if Joe Biden was at the plate and Lance Lynn was pitching and Ivan Herrera was catching, he would end up on second base. He would just have to bunt and then steal second.
Oh no.
I'm not getting political. It's the chat. So
You hate to see.
you hate to see it. Okay, Pedro Baez. C tier. Actually, I feel like the offense is a little overrated. Maybe bottom of C tier, high D tier. I don't care.
Below Brandon Crawford for me.
But the defense has been good.
I was gonna have an argument for B tier, but I mean, because like he's like third in the National League in framing runs, and he's played in like 10 games.
That's interesting.
Is he that good?
Yes.
Let's look at the bat though. 503 OPS.
He
I
has
think
a
155 average.
Okay, but he's like stolen runs from the other team.
So that's probably. I feel like that probably makes him about a C tier. Then it's like Siani, where he's
fair,
really bad offensively, but really good defensively. So he's kind of average.
But he's also like won us 2 games offensively, which is crazy.
That's fair.
I would have him in C tier. I think. I don't know if I could justify having him above like Michael.
I would put him above Herrera. I think he's been better than Herrera because the defense has just been so much better.
Oh,
really?
He's like. I can go back and look for the graphic on Bally, but he's like tops in the National League in like certain defensive metrics.
Herrera's a 1.1 more player this year, and Pedro Baez is negative 0.1.
Okay, because Baseball Reference doesn't value catchers.
No, this is Fangraphs.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we are overrating how bad Ivan Herrera's defense has been for this team.
He's fourth in defensive runs saved among National League catchers, and he's fourth in framing runs. And he's played in not
24 games.
Yeah, so I'd put him in C tier. Like that's awesome, but then the bat. I mean, I know he won 2 games. That I do think that's fair to point out. But
the bat is bad. Like he's hitting 155 with a 42 OPS plus.
That's true.
It's interesting. All right, for me, what are we thinking?
Tier. It's not fair to him, but he's been bad. Like he's been worse than Crawford.
It's fine. If you can't
take his OPS plus, like no.
What's his OPS plus?
I thought it was 8, but then I realized it was total bases that he has. It's 32.
Oh. That's still not good at all. So
no.
Oh gosh.
I was like, if it was 8, that would be. I mean, Victor Scott's OPS plus is less than yours, Josh, but he's in D tier.
That's a crazy thing to just. What a stretch.
Okay, but at least Scott was good defensively. So for me, I don't know if we can.
It's actually an open question. It's actually an open question as to how good Victor Scott was defensively during his brief time at the NBA.
let's not do this.
Anyway, we're not.
Look, I believe
he hasn't played. So we're not talking about people who haven't played, but it's okay.
Yeah. Do we even need to rank Hoffenstein? I don't think it's really fair to rank him on one
S
inning.
tier.
Put him right next to O'Brien. Put him right next to O'Brien. It's the exact same body of work.
No. O'Brien gave up a run. Kloffenstein has not given up a run.
Put him 1 ahead of O'Brien then.
I just don't think we should rank him. I feel like whatever we do to rank him, people are gonna be mad. And like too high, too low. Like we're asking for trouble here.
We're just not gonna rank him. Bye.
Yeah. All right, Kyle Leahy. Sandy, make your case, man. Kyle Leahy fan club.
I like Kyle Leahy. Kyle Leahy gave up a 2-run homer today, and believe it or not, with all of the negative press that he's gotten, okay, the media wants you to hate Kyle Leahy, but they're wrong and they're stupid. That was the first homer he's given up this year in 27 innings. Kyle Leahy, I know that he left a sour taste in a lot of fans' mouths last year. He was bad last year. Like, I'm happy to admit that he was terrible. But this year he's got a sub-4 ERA. He's now appeared in, like almost 20 games. I think it's 17 appearances now. He's been good. Like there's not really anything terrible to say about him. He's come up in some really big spots too. The Orioles series still sticks out to me. He and John King both made multi-inning appearances. They mowed down the Orioles lineup. Both of them had to face the heart of the lineup because of the way it turned over. So I think it's fair to say that he is at least a C-tier reliever. There's not a single bullpen in the league that wouldn't benefit from adding a Kyle Leahy to at least like the front end of the pen. Like having him as their number 8 reliever, no one would not take that right now. He has actual value to this team. He's controllable for a long time. And he's somebody that people, like, believe it or not, should actually like. People should be a fan of this kid. He's been really good for the team.
Yeah. And he's also put in the weird spots where he has to cover innings when they need that. So like today he gives up a couple runs and it's like, well, they're not going to ask Kittredge to go 3 innings. So
correct.
I think
C-tier's Gallegos to go 8 innings and then just DFA him.
I will say if someone's listening, because I also was like, why the heck is Gallegos not pitching the ninth too to save the bullpen? Apparently he was dizzy, and so they pulled him.
Wait, what does that
So
mean?
he was
No one
struggling with
cares,
dizziness. So that's what Ollie said. So can't blame Ollie for. I mean, I don't know. That sucks.
I would have just thrown him out there. I've been like, you can either be released or you can go out and take the ninth. But anyway,
I don't think they need to do
That's
that
fine.
yet.
No,
Anyway, so Kyle Leahy, I think C tier, maybe like above Robertson.
C tier is fine.
Yeah, that's fine to me because he's been a
Okay.
better pitcher than Robertson. He has almost the exact same metrics as Lynn, just over less innings. So.
Yeah. So there's an argument that he can move up a little bit more.
Absolutely.
So we'll see.
Kyle Leahy has the stuff to be a very good reliever. He could easily be B tier next month.
Fair. All right, Alec Burleson. I mean,
S tier.
obviously, okay.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
He's a borderline all-star, if not an all-star.
I think he'll be an
Yeah,
all-star.
but I don't think all stars necessarily are S tier.
Fair. I wasn't saying we had to put him there. I was just like, hey, I mean, he is kind of like an all-star. Let me find it. He's like top 5 in almost every offensive category for.
I feel like he's going to be one of those like fringe all stars that are going to be like, oh, he made it in, but like.
Okay, but he is third a month here. This is a couple days old now, but he was third in average among outfielders, third in slug, 7th in OPS, 7th WRC plus, 4th in home runs, 3rd in K percentage. I'd say maybe right with Donovan. Either that's fair.
Yeah, I think because Donovan gives you the defense and Burleson does not.
True. So maybe I'd put him below Donovan because
Burleson's been a better defender this year than people think.
That's true. Yeah, Burleson's not a bad defender.
Yeah, but like,
Donovan's
he's just not like great.
Yeah,
I put him above Donovan.
Ooh.
I think he's been better than Donovan. At the plate,
If he pitches an inning, then I'll put him above Donovan. But he hasn't pitched an inning yet.
Let's see. Burleson. Okay, so Burleson's a 127 WRC plus as opposed to Donovan's 117. But Donovan is a 1.5 WAR player, and Burleson's 1.1 so far. Negative 6.3 def or defense, and negative 1.3 for Donovan. I personally give. What was that?
What does OAA say about Burley? Like
OAA. Oh shoot, I had to pull up something else. But anyways, I won't be able to find it. It'll mess up my leaderboard I'm using. But I'm good either way ranking. I personally put Donovan slightly above him just because
an OAA according to Savant. So
what's Donovan?
Because I think Burley's been worse lately. Then that's fine. It's fine.
I think
Donovan's 75th. So
yeah, I think that's why I put Donovan above him because he's being asked to play left field. He has to do third base the other day. He'll also play first base and second base sometimes. Burleson's when Newbar's back, Burleson's gonna be the DH. So, but Burleson's freaking awesome. Like, both of these guys are awesome. So I'm not complaining about either guy. So, Matt Carpenter. Okay, here's my case.
Oh no,
Matt Carpenter, after he left the Cardinals, said, I should have listened to Jeff Albert. Now, Matt Carpenter comes back around and starts coaching little Alec Burleson, who Jeff Albert helped develop. I think we need Jeff Albert on here in S tier. I'm just saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And I apologize for what I've
done. Andy, what was your Twitter handle before?
Why would we bring that up? I already apologized publicly for that.
Okay.
For real though, I put Matt Carpenter like bottom of C, like below Crawford, or maybe right above him.
Below Crawford? I put him above Crawford.
Yeah, above Crawford
right now. Doesn't matter.
I'm indifferent on it.
I don't cry when Carpenter comes to the plate.
That's fair. Which I still kind of do with
when Crawford comes to the plate.
Not lately. I'm not crying when Crawford's at the plate right now.
Hey, that veteran leadership. Oh, okay. Next time we also need. Okay, we had to add a few more things. We need to add a veteran leadership tier, or not tier, veteran leadership grade. We need to grade how the veteran leadership is doing as a whole. Because right now, it's
leadership's like A or B tier right now.
Yeah,
I mean, we don't know. Like maybe Lance Lynn is just a really bad dude. Like I don't know.
Sonny Gray is the veteran leadership on the pitching staff. That's why we needed him so bad.
Oh man. All right, JoJo.
I mean, everyone on the starting pitching staff is like 35 years old. Do they need veteran leadership, or are they just like?
I don't know. They need someone to make
likes the veteran leadership.
Yeah, sure.
Oh boy. All right, JoJo Romero, top of B, maybe. Yeah, it's been rough lately for good old JoJo.
Yeah, there's been a little bit of regression, but it's not like his expected stats are awful. He's still not walking guys a ton, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
B tier is fine with me.
Still has a 2.86 ERA in the season, 7.71 ERA his last 17 games, 5.4 his last 15, 3.03 his last 30. So, yeah, it's definitely fallen off a bit, but we're talking about the season here, though. So he was so good early. He's borderline S tier. Did we have him in S tier at one point? Maybe we did.
Yeah.
No, I think he was the highest we had him was
the National League at one point, arguably.
The first time we did this, it was just Helsley and Gray. Last time we did it, it was Contreras and Winn added to that.
Okay.
And Romero's in A tier.
Gotcha. Liberatore, like I'd say top of C, bottom of B, something like that. I mean, as a reliever, he's been awesome, but he's had to start some. Not really his fault, but I mean, he did. So
I'll put him in the bottom of B just because they keep making him start, and I feel bad for him.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's not his fault.
Yeah. Yeah. Cal Gibson, top of B.
Top of B or bottom of A.
Gibson's... I don't count this start. Today's start doesn't count. There was a lot of weird things happened. It got rain delayed. His start yesterday got canceled. He had the weird back stuff. Yeah. I guess that's
today, like the Braves had a total, like while Gibson was in the game, they had 2 hard hit balls, and both of them were
because he walked like 5 guys.
Yeah, he couldn't locate, but the contact they did make was ridiculous. A couple runs scored on a bloop into center field, and then a soft grounder into right scored another run that it was just bad luck from Kyle Gibson. To be honest, had he been locating, which I know that's a big if, it would have been much better. But also, he still deserved to get out of it because he produced the contact he wants to produce. Anytime a pitcher generates a ground ball hit at 75 miles an hour, they should be really happy because the expected batting average on that ball is probably less than 100. And sometimes you just get unlucky. And Kyle Gibson got really unlucky today.
Yeah. That is just one of the reasons why you want so much swing and miss in this game because it's because it's hard to rely on those batted ball things. But I mean, also too, like it's a 3.7 ERA, which isn't like the coolest thing in the world by any means. But when you're eating as many innings as he is, it's more valuable than Lance Lynn, who's giving you that same ERA, but far fewer innings. And he's not.
How many innings has he eaten total?
87 2/3.
To be fair, Lynn's at is that counting today's start?
It should be.
Because Lynn's at 81.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the difference between. But Lynn's made one more start.
Okay,
so that's one thing. So it'd probably be like 90 something innings if he goes another one.
It's true. It's true.
So, and that's the difference. I mean, this short of the season, that's the difference of more like
20 innings,
going an inning or deeper each game. So
that's fair. That's fair.
So I go top of B.
That's fine with me.
Okay, I was gonna put him
or
in
low A. Yeah, either one. I'm good either.
Low A works.
Let's do low A. Andrew Kittredge. Oh man, what is happening? I feel like they're cursed right now. What's his ERA in the season now?
It's pretty high. It's like mid 3s, I think.
It is
still a B tier reliever.
3.12. It's not terrible.
I'll go end of B, right in front of Liberatore.
Yeah, I think it's fair.
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, the expected stats are better than JoJo's, which is interesting, but they're still not incredible.
Yeah. True that. Oh, okay. Chris Roycroft, though. My man. C tier?
Run to first base. Cover the bag. That cost us a game.
Okay, but he also has a 1 ERA in his last 7 outings.
What's his FIP? What's his expected numbers? I don't see the
Roycroft's expected numbers are better than Romero's and Kittredge's across the board.
Because he's played in 10 games. I don't know.
4.11 FIP, which JoJo's 3.61.
Yeah.
3.72 xERA. A high C, low B is what I do for
the walks are what make me question it. He walks a lot of guys. He gets anxious a little bit and kind of gets in his own way, which you just figure that out. Maybe don't give him the high leverage innings because he's still getting used to the big leagues. But I don't know. He's not a guy I would go to in the same breath as Kittredge and Romero and Liberatore. So C, maybe.
Top of C then, because he's still a very useful reliever. And I think he's been better than Leahy. And I think that
I would put him right in front of Leahy.
Oh man, I think
put him above Lynn.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
And Pages. Yeah, it's hard for me to. Anyways, it's C tier. Whatever. But
yeah. Gray is S tier.
Top of S tier.
Easy.
No discussion. He's a Cy Young candidate right now.
Yep. And when people get mad he doesn't go deep in the games, first of all, I don't think people understand that there is a lack of innings across baseball in general right now. These guys don't go that deep in the games anymore. Now, and then also they are removing him early, but that's not his decision. He wants to go deeper, and the Cardinals aren't saying that they don't think he can go deeper. They keep articulating they don't want to lose him, and so they're restraining him. That's just the Cardinals' fault. Like, I disagree with them doing that, but like we can't blame Sonny Gray for that. That's on them. So
yeah.
Top
well, and also the people that are complaining, I don't know if they realize that 7 innings is really deep.
Yeah.
Like Sonny Gray in 14 games has given them over 80 innings. He's averaging over 6 innings a start. He gets into the 7th almost every time, and he pitches through the 7th fairly often. It's one thing to say like, oh, the pitch count is low, he should keep going. But the games he's pitching in, he's coming out of, and the bullpen's locking down, we're winning. What do you want him to do? Pitch into the 8th and give up runs? Like, if he knows that it's time to come out of the game, he knows it's time to come out of the game, and he's doing what the team needs him to do. I agree that there are times when I've said, I wish he would have stayed in longer, but there are just things that we don't know about. So it's okay for him to say, I'm done, and it's okay for Marmol to pull him. Like, we don't know what goes into the decision-making process.
Agreed. Andrew, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I just wish they would let him go deeper, but it's not his fault, so I'm not going to fault him for it. Nolan Gorman.
32% K percentage, by the way, is probably the best K rate a Cardinal starter has had in a long time.
You want to talk about a K rate that high? Let's talk about Nolan Gorman.
Oh, gosh.
Glass D tier.
I think I made the coldest article take of all time because I was like, hey, we overrate how streaky Gorman is. And then ever since I posted that, he's gone ice cold.
You should take it down.
Again. I should. So,
you've cursed Nolan Gorman.
I feel like top of D, he's below league average hitter right now. The defense is pretty good, which is nice. But, I mean, his numbers are really inflated right now by like a 2-week ultra hot stretch, which is awesome. But, like, we're talking about a season here.
For 2 weeks.
Yeah, but it's like let's to be fair, he's not as bad as he was last year when he got cold. Like that June was, I don't think people remember how bad it was.
No, it was like a sub 400 OPS.
Yeah, he was. I think he had a 22 WRC plus or something. He was like Victor Scott at the plate.
It was like 12. I think it was 12.
I think you're right. Yeah, it was really bad. So
it feels wrong to have him below Crawford and Carpenter though. Like,
yeah, well, he's been just that bad recently, so.
I guess.
I think they might both have a higher WRC plus than him. Oh, Brandon Crawford and Matt Carpenter both have much lower.
Yeah,
Gorm's at 95.
Veteran leadership, and where's that from Nolan Gorman?
Gorm is a C tier.
Gosh, yeah, I think Gorm's at the very bottom of C.
Okay,
I put him above Carpenter.
If they're gonna be up there, I think it's a tough look for us. But
also, it makes sense for the Cardinals to have a lot of guys in C and B because they're above 500 right now. Like they're a team probably. Preview.
Yeah. John King, lowest ERA among the relievers right now.
A tier.
Yeah.
Wow. So far,
it's been great.
I'm not a John King hater. That's Josh. So also,
I was
a John King enjoyer.
Miles Michaelis and John King, I apologize for calling you both terrible and that I didn't believe in it. I was wrong.
Gorman is in my fantasy lineup, and I'm really considering dropping him. But also, I had him for that hot stretch. And right after Josh dropped him.
Andrew, you wanna like come back at me again because every time we talk, you're like, "Thanks for Gorman on my fantasy team," and it's like, "You're welcome."
Now he's. I mean, I'm 12-1, so I don't really.
Yeah, okay,
it's okay.
Yeah, you're right. Oh. I can't remember if it was a different league. Someone dropped Masyn Winn. I was like, thank you. I'll take him. What are you doing?
Wow. I think Masyn Winn is a free agent in our league, but I don't know.
Is he?
Yeah, I had like 4 shortstops. I traded Trey Turner for Fernando Tatis, and then Fernando Tatis went on the IL, and now I'm sad.
I need to go look at that because I don't think my shortstop situation is very good there. But Nolan Arenado, oh
D-tier.
gosh. I think it's got to be D tier.
It's so bad right now.
Yeah. I mean, he
wasn't D tier last time, and he hasn't gotten any better.
Yeah, if anything's gotten worse.
I'll see where he was.
It's so bad right now. The defense is bad. Like he's barely league average according to outs above average. He's 26th percentile ex-WOBA.
Yeah.
Average exit velocity is 85. Like,
What's up, Talik?
he's literally Dylan Carlson in terms of exit velocity right now. Actually, Dylan Carlson's might be higher.
His last home run was in the Astros series.
Oh no.
Yeah, pretty bad.
It felt like he was getting right too.
Also, Hank, way to pick up Jordan Westberg. Yeah. Good call. Yeah, top of D.
He has the same average exit velocity as Dylan Carlson, like down to the mile an hour.
Andrew
Gallegos honestly deserves his own tier below for me, but I'm just
dude. Like, your Geo hate is crazy
because he's terrible.
He's bad right now. I'll admit that.
He's so bad.
Oh man, he just slightly put him in there. Arenado. Okay, well, here is something to hear. If we're looking at the season though for Arenado, he is a 1.1 WAR player, and 1.1 WAR player, and he's 97 WRC plus, so he's slightly below league average to the plate. So,
but like runners in scoring position, 2 outs, Nolan Arenado's popping out.
Yeah, I mean, I said D tier.
It's just a rule. Like, yeah, it's not like I don't really care what his OPS plus is.
His BABIP is really bad right now, but also when you don't hit any velocity on your ball on your exit velocity.
Yeah, it shouldn't be any better.
He's just injured, and he's like telling everyone, "Oh, I can play. He needs to go on the IL for like a month and then come back."
Yeah. Also, someone asked how many walks he's taken. He has a 7.0 walk percentage, which actually he's not. Like Brendan Donovan's a 6.3, Wins is 6.7. Oh my gosh, Alec Burleson at a 3.9 walk percentage.
Burley never walks.
He never walks.
He'd literally be Barry Bonds.
Oh my gosh,
Burley Bonds.
Yeah, but Burley. That's his profile. He needs to swing like he does. That's how he does well.
Yeah.
Palante, like bottom of C, maybe.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he's produced, but it's not good. And you can to your point, Andrew, about who was it earlier that you're talking about could fall off at any point?
Lance Lynn.
Yeah, like I think it's Palante. Palante's even more of a case of that. But anyways, Ryan Fernandez. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Ryan Fernandez. I mean, Palante, I feel like is probably a more serviceable 5-starter than like Steven Matz at this point, right? You can rely on him more, and he can maybe like the Rick Woods game. He gave up 3 runs, but he went like 6 innings. Like it was a good start by him. And there was the game against the Cubs where they just pulled him.
No, the Rickwood game was
I don't
bad.
think this.
He gave up 5 and 5.
Oh, was it?
He's had the way to look at Palante, I think, is to just say he's made 5 starts.
Yeah.
And 3 of them have been very positive, and 2 of them have been very bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what you've gotten. But he's only gone less than 5 innings. Oh, actually, he's gone less than 5 innings twice, and one of those was a true implosion against Houston, and that was a game that he definitely lost for the Cardinals.
Yeah,
but the other game wasn't bad. They just took him out randomly, and he looked really good. Remember, that was when he was running it up to 97, and then just came out in the 4th for no reason. Yeah. So I don't know. It's like such a mixed bag. I'm fine with very bottom of C tier, I guess.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Also, Jonathan, thanks for tuning in, man. We really appreciate it. Yeah, we do streams twice a week, so it's fun stuff. I like these tier lists. If you guys enjoy them, let us know. I feel like they're fun to and they're retrospective, and they help us kind of the spread out the conversation amongst it. But and it's fun at the end looking at all of it and being like, because you kind of I remember there's been a few times where I've been like, man, it feels like we're really optimistic on a lot of guys, but at the end of it, you're like, oh, how I feel about the team right now is kind of how this graph looks.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's fun to kind of do it like that. Ryan Fernandez, I think you can make an argument top of B, low A. He's been awesome.
Yeah. Top of B, I think, makes the most sense for him.
ERA wise, I think he is. Oh, he's the best. Sorry, he's above John King. He's at 2.38 ERA, best on the team.
I would say Fernandez, Andrew
3.15 FIP.
Yeah, he's been great.
Okay.
Andrew, you've made the argument that situational stuff matters, and I think that's fine. And I would say with Fernandez, when you think about his role, as Romero and Kittredge have become a little bit less reliable, Fernandez has emerged. And that's
I agree now. Yeah.
Because as you have these other guys who maybe they're getting overused, maybe they're just starting to fade a little bit for whatever reason, like Fernandez and King have emerged and kind of stabilized things. And if Fernandez doesn't emerge, then it could be a lot dicier.
True. That's trouble. could call Talik on that one. That's for sure. Goldie, I mean, D tier 2.
Yeah.
Oh, Goldie has like a 122 WRC plus though since May 10th or whatever.
Yeah,
Okay, but,
here's
like,
part of the problem though. It's like Gorm though. He had a really hot week and a half, I think, even. Maybe, but it might
Yeah.
have just been a week that really inflated it.
Yeah.
It's not been great. But
Yeah, I want Goldie to be good. I feel like
low
he's
C,
better
high
than
D.
Arenado.
I'll put him at
I
the
feel-
top of D, right in front of
Yeah.
Arenado.
Gosh, those two can hang out together.
I feels like that feels right though. It feels like they need to hang
Yeah.
together. Well, okay, so last 7 games, Goldie has almost a 900 OPS. But then if you go to his last 15 games, it's like a low 700. Okay, last 30, it's low 700s too. Let's say top of D. Let's put them together.
Yeah,
But
that's fine.
Yeah,
it does feel weird having Blow Crawford and Bolante
I
though.
hate it.
Oh,
but it's
gosh.
okay. Last year we
That's
had Wilson Contreras in the same tier as Taylor Motter at one point.
Yeah.
So
Here's what we can do. I know we said we're doing it off of actual performance, but we can bake in that Goldschmidt and Arenado, you two need to step it up. So I know
we can bake
Goldie, you're
in
kinda stepping it up.
contract.
Yeah, true
Like how
contract,
much?
and they're supposed to be the best players, and they're not. So
Right.
Dylan Carlson, F tier.
No. Put Dylan Carlson right behind Nolan Arenado because he's right
No.
behind him on the average exit velocity leaderboard.
No.
It's literally the exact same thing. It's all the people that are like Dylan Carlson. I've said it before. Dylan Carlson doesn't even hit the ball hard in batting practice. It's literally 0.6 miles an hour lower than Arenado. Also,
Okay, but
Dylan Carlson,
Dylan
for what it's
Carlson-
worth, has been fine in the field, if
Yeah.
not like very good in the field.
Carlson has a 46 WRC plus.
Oh, but if we're gonna have Victor Scott in D tier, I'm sorry, Dylan Carlson has got to be in D tier too.
Let's see how many games. Victor Scott played less games than him,
It's true.
but was worth almost a -1 WAR. Oh boy.
Yes.
Okay, maybe we just move Victor Scott down to the F tier then too.
No.
Okay, then
Why?
I cannot have an argument.
We
for
had Carlson in
above
F tier last time, and he hasn't gotten any better.
Carlson's been fine, I think.
Fine,
Because they platoon him against lefties, so he's going to be fine. But like that's
but not even then. He is a 189 average on the season. He's a
Yeah.
He's sub 500. Or is it just at 500 now? No, a sub 500 OPS.
Oh,
He's F. Like his defense isn't even that good. It's fine. It's fine.
yeah. Oof.
DC, dude. Yeah,
Can we-
honestly,
can we
when
make a
Edman and
G tier
Newbar come
after
back,
F just for
Siani needs
Gio?
to stay up and DC goes down.
Yeah.
Can we do a G for Geo tier right below F?
Andrew, Gio pitched a scoreless inning tonight.
Yeah, and then he was like, "Oh no, my head hurts. I can't pitch the ninth."
I'm sorry. You should have
And then we had
empathy
to
for
burn
people
John.
with that right now, Andrew.
I know.
Relate. All
I
right.
know. But it's
Siani.
C tier. Best
but-
defensive outfielder in all of baseball.
So
Put him
how
above Pace.
How much do we let that defense rank above the bat?
Enough.
I
It's
put him
that's
right
the
in front of
Paes.
Paes.
It has
Yeah.
to be. Yeah, he has to be above Paes because his defense is better than Paes. But is he really that
his
high in
bat
C
is,
tier
too.
though? It makes me feel like Paes and him both need to go a little lower. But I'm fine with it. Gold Glove defense, best defensive center fielder in baseball.
Top of A for Winn.
Also, sorry, that's a third guy I need to apologize to. Michael Siani. I'm sorry. I
I'm
let
sorry, Michael.
certain people on Twitter convince me that I also
Like
just
Sandy?
didn't care about you.
You
But
mean just Sandy?
no, there were certain prospect people that were beyond pissed off that Michael Siani was on the 40-man roster and thought it was the biggest travesty of all time, and that they were just blowing up on it. And I was like, oh, interesting. And I mean, I didn't think he was good anyways, but it made me think of him even worse. So I'm sorry, Siani. If we filled out one of those apologies forms, I'd say Twitter convinced me you were bad.
Sorry.
Masyn Winn goes in S tier.
I think
Can
A
I
tier.
vent about?
Oh,
Really?
Well, the storyline is S tier. Like he might win Rookie of the Year. He's the best Cardinals rookie we've had in a while. He's really fun to watch. He's a highlight reel.
he is
But-
outpacing Brendan Donovan in WAR by 0.1 and Burleson by 0.4. He's only 0.1 behind Wilson Contreras, but obviously
Sure.
Contreras played a lot less games.
Yeah. But like, I don't think Wynn's gonna make the All-Star game, even as a reserve. I think
What?
that
No, I think he'll get voted in by the players.
Oh, he won't get by the players, maybe
by the players, but I think the storyline is S tier, and like Masyn Winn, like he's a guy who has aura, like he's fun to watch. I'll say that. I love Masyn Winn. I'm a huge fan. I bought the City Connect.
Okay.
I think on the season, bottom of S is what I'd still give him because his defense is super helpful. His base runnings are great. I think there's an argument he's slipping to A tier, but I would still put him. I'd put him top of A.
He hasn't gotten that much worse. Like his average has dipped under 300, but again, I don't care about batting average, and he's been very good from the leadoff spot. Like I don't think he's gotten much worse when we put him in S tier. Also, can I take a moment and talk about all the Reds fans who have come at me in my mentions on Twitter for putting a comparison between Masyn Winn and Elly De La Cruz and supposedly cherry picking 4 stats that were WAR, batting average, OPS, and WRC plus. I'm sorry. Are 3 of those? Okay, to be fair, I did cherry pick batting average. I'll apologize because Winn's batting average is a lot higher. But are WAR, WRC plus, and OPS not 3 of the most comprehensive stats to describe it? And they're like, oh, you should include stolen bases. And I'm like, no.
They are. Okay, so what are we doing?
If I include stolen bases, I'm including errors. And Elly De La Cruz has like 13. And Masyn Winn only has like 6.
Winn. I think Winn is more than that. I think Winn's actually kind of close.
Okay. Well,
yeah, Winn's defense is a little overrated. Just stick him in the bottom of S.
I don't know if it's overrated. I just think he makes errors like Elly does, but he also makes a lot of insane plays that Elly hasn't.
True.
If that makes sense. But anyways, Ollie's A tier for me.
A tier.
You just led them. You led them out of this hole. Like the odds are stacked against him, big time.
Yeah.
And people, I understand people are like you can tell when players don't like their manager. You can tell. And the only times anyone's ever been like someone doesn't like Ollie is when it's like Dylan Carlson or Tyler O'Neill or Jack Flaherty or people like that who we kind of are all like, yeah, they're kind of part of the problem here.
2 of those are going to be all-stars this year.
So Ollie's A tier to me.
But yeah.
A tier for me.
Also, Michael, if you're asking for the site, you do side by side. If you look up like baseball reference comparisons, you can find that pretty easily from there. That's where a lot of people do those comparison things. In general, I actually think it's kind of you can spin those to make your own argument.
You can very much,
but it's fun because other people do it, so I like to dunk on people with it.
Yeah,
but Mo, A tier,
A tier,
B tier,
B tier,
A tier.
Actually, no.
Chaim Bloom goes in A tier. Chaim Bloom goes
That's
in A
true.
tier.
I would go B tier too because I think the Ollie keeps crying for help about a 5th starter. Need more bullpen help. I think.
Yeah,
Mo. If you're just talking about this past offseason, it's a borderline A tier, but there were still a few things he could have done to shore it up even more that he didn't and has refused to do. So I'd put him above Kittredge. I think it's pretty solid B tier. And he's probably waiting for the deadline to do this, but
I just got a message from Mo. I'm hearing it's a special day for one of his favorite employees.
Oh no. Thanks, Mo. My checks have never actually cashed. Every time I've taken them to the bank, they say this is fake money and that it's an Arby's coupon. So if you could talk to DeWitt about that, I'd really appreciate it. So the listeners think you pay me and it hasn't worked yet. So
yeah.
No, thanks, Andrew. Andrew said he had a special graphic this morning, and I immediately am like, it's probably something with that. And yep, it was. So yeah, it's my birthday, Talik.
Happy birthday to Josh.
Happy birthday. Thanks, Mo. Thanks, Sandy. Thanks, Andrew. All right, DeWallet. DC.
Yeah, D.
He hasn't done it. Like, I don't know. I just don't like him very much.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. Just
Let's
D tier.
Put him like, baby.
Yeah, right behind Matt.
I like him more than Gio, but like not that much.
Because I like Steven Matz. All right, the last thing now, the team as a whole.
So wait, we got to say it at the same time.
All right.
Wait, hold on. I need to see where we ranked him last time. Okay, cool.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, A.
B tier. Sandy didn't say anything.
I can listen to A. They're a top 5 team in the National League by record.
Actually, yeah, B's probably fair. I'm just like more so like, what did we? I mean, this is like best case scenario for this team so far, but not really. The bad start is bad. You're right. It's B. It's B. I got aggressive. It's B. It's B.
Top of B.
About right ahead of money.
It was end of B last time. Like right here. right
Yeah,
here. Maybe.
let's do it.
Okay.
Let's
that
bump up
works.
JoJo. It's like the opposite of JoJo. It's like, hey, at the beginning we were like, oh no, this is gonna crack at any moment, and now it's
It's
awesome.
trending right. Yeah.
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 All right. I like this. I feel good about this. Ollie, great bounce back. Carp and Crawford, great bounce backs. Cardinals, great bounce back. Mo, where do we rank the podcast right now? Are we giving us
S tier, right?
S tier?
Like,
Yeah.
is there anywhere else?
Oh man. Oh, this is fun. So let us know what you think of the rankings in the chat. Obviously, you've been in here. If you're listening later, let us know in the comments as well. We really appreciate hearing from that as well. We're not going to rank Coffenstein to leak because we just pitched one inning. It's not worth it. Yeah, let us know what you guys are thinking on that, or let us know on Twitter, Instagram, all that as well. Obviously, we really appreciate the support and listens on this. So if it's your first time listening, subscribe. Helps the channel a ton, like the episode as well. We should be back Sunday after the Red Series. So hopefully it's a sweep of Ellie De La Cruz and Winn shows. Someone the other day tried to put out Ellie is clearly the best shortstop in the National League Central again. I'm like, all right, let's stop that. But I will say I would, if you ask me to vacuum who's a better player, it is Ellie. It's Ellie De La Cruz. And he's going to probably one day set some, like, he could be a 100 steal, 40 home run guy at some point. Like, that's insane. So, cool. But Masyn Winn's awesome. So, no more Reds glazing at the end here. But really appreciate everyone listening. We'll be back Sunday to talk some more Cardinals baseball. Until next time, thanks for listening.
Thanks, Nolan.